Are you that YouTuber? If so, you make good videos, lol. Bro, I think you're the YouTube, and if so, I disagree so strongly with 90% of the things you say. Laughing emoji. And then I proceed to gaslight him into thinking it's not me. Well, I think it's been a long time coming, but now we're finally here, and I feel like I want to correct anything I said wrong in those Death Note videos because if you know me, I am a human. Well, if you know anyone, I am a human who makes mistakes. I was only a person with like what 300 subscribers at that time I was making those Death Note videos. I didn't have volume 13 how to read at the time, and it was nowhere to be found on the internet. Like I know where to find my manga chapters. I'm not gonna say because you don't know how YouTube can be, but I didn't have volume 13 at the time, so I was like, oh my god, I need to find these information because I genuinely care about Death Note. It is my favorite manga series or anime series, and one thing I just don't like to do is spread misinformation. I don't like spreading misinformation about my favorite series, and doing that, it really does hurt my heart. So I just want to, come out and just, fix anything that I said at the time, okay? There's other YouTubers out there who would say something about their, manga or anime and just, not fix anything they said. They just spread misinformation or they don't correct anything they would say. So I don't want to be like that. I don't want to spread misinformation. I want to be correct. So let's do the thing that every YouTuber would hate to do. Rewatch their old videos. Especially me, because holy shit. Alright, video number 1. Oh yeah, also, some parts of the videos, those older videos, they had to get, like, cut out because, copyright. So, some stuff, some stuff that I said in the videos, they're long gone, they're lost media, so, yeah, my bad. I didn't know how long the clips were supposed to be to avoid copyright, sadly. Okay, mistake number 1.
L is the smartest character in Death Note, but mostly likely lost to Light because, well, look at both of their stats and you'll see why. L got too emotional during the final act of part 1 when Light got rid of his memories.
So apparently, like, when I was trying to find the stats between Light and L, I just searched it up on Google. But the image I used is from 9gag, and it is very wrong. Like, look at this. Look at this, and then look at the right one. For some reason, Light's death date is April 28th, 2010, when he didn't actually die. He died in January. He didn't die in April. What? And also, while it is true that L was emotional, that Light lost his memories and he wasn't Kira at the time, that wasn't the reason that he lost. He lost because he didn't have enough time to prove the 13-day rule. I just thought at the time, using those stats and comparing Light to L was like the reason that Light won, but nah, that's not the reason. I think I mentioned in my Misa video that the intelligence stat doesn't actually mean oh, Light is smarter than L. It just means that this is kind of a mistranslation. When they mean intelligence, they actually mean knowledge, like general knowledge of the real world, like how to drive cars or whatever. So yeah, that's why Light's knowledge is higher than L's knowledge. Alright, mistake number 2.
Nia reveals that Light lost because Mikami wrote down Taka's name in the real notebook, and confirms that Light would have won if Mikami didn't make this small mistake. It was just the smallest mistake from his subordinates. This is partially Light's fault for having a loyal Kira follower be as crafty as him that caused both of them to get caught, but I feel like it was more Mikami's fault because Light specifically told him not to use the real notebook until January 28th. Don't make any unnecessary moves until that day. But Mikami boo this man!
The reason Light lost was because of Mikami. Well, honestly, this wasn't really a mistake because I didn't say that Mikami was the only one to blame. I said in the video,
this is partially Light's fault for having a loyal Kira follower be as crafty as him that caused both of them to get caught.
It was partially Light's fault for having a subordinate be as crafty as him. I just said that I felt it was more Mikami's fault because I just wanted to make the frickin' joke. So it's still Light and Mikami's fault. I never said that was only Mikami's fault. I just said I felt it was more of his fault. But even so, that isn't the reason why Light and Mikami lost. The real reason is because Light never told Mikami that he had a piece of the notebook in his watch. And because of this, Mikami was going through a dilemma in which he had to act on his own. Do I let Kira do something on his own, or do I have to act on my own and use the notebook to kill Takeda? The unpredictable kidnapping by Mello caused this whole fiasco to happen. Also, throughout that video, I kept saying like Light was being corrupted by the Death Notes, but I didn't mean like, oh, he was changing because of the Death Notes. I meant like he was being corrupted by the high power. Having the power to kill was corrupting him. I made a video on this, by the way, of like if the Death Note corrupts people, but just in case you don't see that video, the Death Notes itself, it doesn't corrupt people, it doesn't change how they act, but having the high power that the Death Note grants to kill anyone by writing their name down, that's a high power. That power corrupts them. Not the Death Note, the power corrupts them. Okay. Mistake number 3.
Some see Light as a despicable person, but I strongly disagree and kind of cry at the scene because, like I said, Light was just a normal high school student who was cursed once he wrote down the first name in the notebook. It's the notebook that's evil for turning so many people's lives into tragedies or ending them soon.
Okay, after playing that clip, I want to say that my wording was a bit off, like very off. I do think that Light is a despicable person. Like, I thought that throughout the whole show. I still do think that the Death Notes is an evil thing that exists. Mostly because, you know, anyone that uses it is caused with misfortune. It's literally proven many times in the show that anyone that uses it encounters misfortune. And heck, even if you don't use it, you might encounter misfortune, as seen by the 2021 shot where the main character got hoed at the end. Like, holy shit. Normally, I would have just said like the Death Note wasn't evil because, you know, it's just a tool that you could use for, you know, whatever purpose that you want. But, you know, just anyone encounter it and use it and still face misfortune, which is most likely, you know, the misfortune is most likely death itself. Like, everyone that uses the Death Note eventually dies in the end. I still think that's pretty evil. That's a pretty wicked thing. Mistake number 4.
Only gripe I have with this ending is Giovanni writing down every name that Mikami wrote down with his handwriting in a single night. Like, I know this is to help the plot move and give Giovanni his moment to shine, but to be honest, I don't really care about this guy.
Giovanni wasn't the only one that wrote the names in one night. It was him and Ruster. Both of them wrote the names down in around one night. But you see, the thing about this fact or this scene is that people think, you know, because of the freaking YTK video or whatever his YouTube channel name is, they think that Death Note's ending is impossible because of that. And I plan on making a video in the future that, you know, debunks that. I know some people have already debunked it, and, you know, on YouTube and Reddit, which you should, you know, go search those up if you think the ending is impossible, because holy shit, do these people love Death Note and they care about it and they love spreading the right information so people don't get misinformed. But at the time of making that video, I was persuaded by the SYTK video, and I was convinced that what he said was right because, you know, he did all the math. But you know, looking at all those forums and all those messages on Reddit, and even looking at the comments section on his video, like, he was way off. He was really wrong. Like, really, really wrong. What? Yeah, that video did some horrible damage to the Death Note series, because people are now convinced that the Death Note ending is impossible and that the series sucks because of that ending, wherever. If I remember correctly, Giovanni and Ruster, someone probably calculated it, but I think they had to write down like 4,000 names because of you know, the amount of names that Mikami wrote. So, you know, writing 4,000 names down in one night with perfect handwriting, I don't see that as impossible. That's especially for Death Note feats. Like, this is a series where like people freaking buy mini televisions and put them in potato chip bags. Like, come on. Mistake number 5. Well, this isn't really much of a mistake, but something that I saw a few months ago that I wanted to bring up. Thank you to Sudden Pop on Reddit for finding this. In the official anime guidebook, they hint that L's ghost showed up at the end to welcome Light into death, which also probably reinforces that, you know, in death, everyone is equal. Light is still equal to L in death. And that could also probably be hinted at in episode 26, where Light sees a vision of L and then he just disappears. Now, onto the L video. Alright, the real mistake in number 5.
As for the second counter, some might say L probably didn't care about the ordinary lives of people and just wanted to make it easier to catch Kira, rather than provoke him and prolong the process. Though we don't have enough evidence for his claim, so we'll just pass on by.
There is enough evidence to claim that L does care about making sure that regular people aren't killed by Kira, or just sacrificed. Heck, I mentioned it like a few minutes before. I don't know why I said that. I think I said that because I was mentioning counter arguments, but I probably shouldn't have mentioned those counter arguments because I already answered the question. L cares about regular people. He doesn't want regular people to die. I don't know why I mentioned that. Alright. Mistake number 6.
Even if L likes some people in the task force, all they are pawns that he uses in his chess game against Kira. He doesn't care about their deaths emotionally, he only cares about them not making stupid decisions.
I think I said that L didn't care that Ukita died because I watched Expert Games, like, what was it, that 10-hour video on Death Note, and he made a joke about like how L probably didn't care that Ukita died. But no, L did care that Ukita died. Like, it's literally shown in the manga with his emotions. No, it probably is shown in the anime, but it's more so in the manga where we see his distraught but composed reaction to Ukita's death. He did care about the task force. Mistake in number 7, I think, or 6. I'm not gonna say it.
That's why I don't understand when people say Light started to kill innocent people. Like, technically, people like the FBI are indeed innocent because they haven't committed crimes and are doing their job. But when Kira specifically made it clear that he'll kill anyone that tries to stop him, and when Light's life is on the line, they aren't really innocent when they're involved in the game between Kira and L.
Yeah, no, I changed my mind about that in the Misa video. The FBI agents, they're definitely innocent. I know what I was trying to say, but my mind has changed. They're innocent. And yeah, that's basically every mistake that I made so far, so I just wanted to clear that up before I make another Death Note video, but yeah, that's pretty much it. But there have also been topics that I have been right about, like factually right about, that people have been saying I'm wrong about, like many times. I just wanted to, just talk about it one last time to just get into their minds that this is factually right, alright? Okay, so let's go over the things that I have been right about. Why did I say that Light was a victim? Because the author said so. Why did I say L was not a friend of Light? Because the author said so. Why did I say Light cared about his father? Because the author said so. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm going to go over these. I'm not just gonna skim over them. So, Light, and not just Light, but like every Death Note user being a victim of the Death Note has been portrayed and constantly told to us in the series, like many times. Every Death Note user has to face misfortune, and you know what happens? They face misfortune. Even the ones that don't use it, like in the one-shots, Minoru Tanaka reinforces this idea when he doesn't even use the Death Note, and what happens? He still dies of misfortune. Even disregarding the misfortune aspect, Light's mental stability goes through a downward spiral, and everything he sets to achieve, having a perfect world for his family to live in, it backfires. He accidentally gets his dad killed, he inadvertently gets his sister kidnapped and mentally scarred. Everything backfires on him, and there's more evidence of this that, I could probably go into a future video, but, that it's... If the author said it, he said it. I'm just reading the words off the page, man. Light and L are not friends, and that's something that, even I thought when watching the anime, and I think even some manga readers would think so too, but no, Light and L, they hate each other. They hate each other even throughout the whole series. They hate each other. Who knows, there might be some scenes in the anime that try to convey that, hey, maybe Light and L, they do find each other as, a little bit of friends, but even when adapting the manga, you're still going to adapt the scenes where they hate each other. Like it's just they do not like each other. And finally, and I don't even know why I'm being told I'm wrong about this, it's like one of the most blatant facts in this series. Light does love his father. He does care about his father. I even went so far deep into the Light Yagami video saying that, he tries to avoid his father getting killed, but, I think it's just stuff that the second part of the anime omits. Even if, like, the second part of the anime omits some scenes, I still think it's very clear that he does like his father. Who knows, maybe it's because of the death scene where his father's on a deathbed and he's like trying to get him to like read or no, write Mello's name down. People are like contemplating, oh, does he even like his father or not? But even the author like confirmed that maybe a small part of Light does care about his father. There's something in volume 13 that's not at the top of my mind right now. In chapter 106, if I remember correctly, the anime omits a line where Light is like trying to convince Masuda, hey, I'm trying to say that my father was a hero. You don't want people like that to die, to be turned into fools, right? Like how Mello turned Sorichiro into a fool and got him killed, That's what he's trying to say. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to clear up before I make another Death Note video. I know in the previous video I made, it was on Misa Amane, which is like an hour long, and from like that video going forward, I started to use Volume 13 How to Read since I found it on the internet. It wasn't available during the time I was making those older Death Note videos, and that's possibly like one of the reasons why the video is so long, because I don't know, I just have so much information on these characters and I don't want to like make a mistake. I don't want to spread misinformation and people spreading that misinformation. It just goes it goes everywhere. So I just wanted to make that clear. Now that I'm making more Death Note videos, I'm trying to make sure that everything I say is right. I I have this complex where if I say something wrong, I kind of slap myself and I'm just like, whoa, why did I put that in the script? Why didn't I search that more? So I'm just trying to make sure everything's right. So thank you for watching and keep that aura blazing.